So welcome everybody to our Lunch and Learn for August. I can't believe it's already August. My message this morning at Chamber was, oh my gosh, there's only 5 months left in 2025. And if you set goals for the year, it's probably time to put the hammer down. If you need some help, let me know. And then I turned around and hired a coach because I know that I am not hitting the mark on a couple of my goals. So I really encourage you all to reach out to people and get some help. Don't try to hit this stuff alone. It's really difficult to do. I've got my cohort here, Mr. Kevin Barrett from up in Seattle, where it's raining cats and dogs.
Yep. Hello, all.
And today's subject is super fun. It is, let me make sure I get it correct before I start this thing. I gotta go share. Boom, boom, and share this one. It is one of my favorites because stress apparently is rampant in this country. And the interesting thing about stress is that some things that cause stress for you doesn't stress the person next to you. And sometimes your behavior can cause stress for the person sitting next to you. So we're going to come at this from a couple of different directions. It comes directly out of our workshop, Colorful Connections, Adaptive Skills for Interpersonal Synergy. This is a program that we've been teaching in our most popular program since 2003, I guess, is when we finally rolled this one out. It is Jungian based, which almost every personality assessment is Jungian based. But Jung has a very practical application for psychology. And he said there's no cure for improving the world that does not begin with the individual, meaning there's no magic wand to make anyone else different. And the only thing that you can do to make an interaction more cohesive and better is to maybe change up how you're interacting. Maybe make a different approach, maybe see things differently, act differently, give that person the things that they need. I put this quote in here by Tim Robbins, and that there's no such thing as a weird human being. It's just some of us require more understanding than others. Because we as humans are our own measuring stick. We have a tendency to label people that are different from us as weird or different. And in fact, we're all our own unique weirdness. And so once we realize that you can lead from any of the different personalities, there's not one personality style that's better than another, that if you really dive into Carl Jung's work, you are all the personalities. It's just situationally, developmentally, over time, things change. But at any one given moment, you're only one of the personalities. And so understanding where that person is and where you are and how you interact without causing more difficulty is what my goal has been. That's what we want you to walk away from. So in that handout that I sent the branching chart, which, this is like a 3-hour workshop. So we're going to condense it down into 1 hour. We're not going to play any of the interactive games that we play, which help anchor it. But I really believe that the rising tide raises all ships. And so the more we understand, the better we are at helping others. One of my favorite workshops to teach is building emotional intelligence. And understanding yourself and understanding others is one of the key components to emotional intelligence. And so I just feel like if we can share this information, if we can, that person that irritates the heck out of you, if you take time to share this with them, chances are you're going to open up a door of conversation that you can understand each other better. So without further ado, that square right there, Ready, is a person. It might be somebody you just met or somebody you've known for a long time. You will experience they either are being engaging or they're being reserved. If they're being engaging, there's two different forms of engagement. There's a driving form of engagement and a cheerful form of engagement. Driving is all about getting stuff done. we call them direct red. They are like the flame. They're like go, 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 go. The cheerful dynamic yellows are really scattered. They're very creative. They're very positive, and they kind of come at the world like a shotgun approach. There's lots of things going on all the time. They love that fanatic energy, that crazy energy. These two can drive each other absolutely crazy. If you are direct red and you want things laser focused and getting done, that bouncy stuff can make you feel like they're not paying attention. The yellow dynamic, dealing with a heart, can oftentimes interpret red behavior as rude and disrespectful because they're always so serious. And so they're always trying to fund the red up, which they don't really enjoy. But if you can get them pointed in the same direction, they're going to get a lot done because they're both super high energy. Now, if you're an engaging person and you're trying to talk to somebody who's reserved, we all are blessed with this voice inside our head that talks to us all day long. And that voice can start saying some pretty nasty things about that reserved person, if we were honest. It can say things like, they're stuck up, they don't like me, I've done something to offend them. I used to try to fund them up, pull them out of their hole, make them talk to me. The more I talked at them, the bigger and thicker the wall got. It was like, go away, crazy lady. I don't know what you want from me. So one of my first suggestions is, rather than cause stress for the reserved individual, if you'll tone it down, slow down, and connect to them in their reserved space and energy, they may like you, but they're not going to like you when you're coming at them like a rabid raccoon. So draw an arrow down to remind yourself to calm down when you're talking to reserve. Now, reserved, if you're talking to someone who's engaging, you need to pick it up. So that warm, caring, empathic, or that cool, analytical, it sometimes feels really uncomfortable. But if you just start talking, if you just start making eye contact, you will find that most people are really nice people. The warm, caring, empathic, we call caring green. They care about everything and everybody. They feel deeply, which is a dual-edged sword because they oftentimes get their feelings hurt because they care. The cool, analytical, the detailed blue, they invented email so they wouldn't have to talk to any of us. They don't like a lot of emotion, good or bad. They don't like the fast, crazy pace that the world is in. They want people to think before they do stuff. And unfortunately, we don't live in a world where people measure twice and cut once. We live in a world where people cut and then go, oh, whoops. That's why they have girl math and all that other crazy stuff. It makes it really difficult for detailed blue when change is happening and things are going really crazy. You'll see a lot of stress in them in times of change. So how are we doing, guys? Did I lose anybody? That was a lot.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was interactive, Mary.
I just wanted to make sure, because it's like drinking from a fire hose at this point. I just wanted to make sure everybody was still there. Welcome, Kat.
What's funny is every time you talk about the color situation, it always brings faces to mind as the interactions that I've had with people and helping me to understand them better and about how to be able to talk with them. So I always appreciate it when you review it and go over it. So thank you.
All right. Because we're going to talk about stress, but in order to talk about stress, we have to understand the personality. So I need to fly through that, and then we'll head a little bit deeper into stress. But recognizing the fact that you can be any of these personality styles, and so can everybody else. The key is, where am I? Where are you? And how do we interact? What are your gifts? What are your strengths? What causes stress? So another way of looking at it when you're talking to somebody is, if that person is really direct and interrupting and asking really focused questions, has more of a faster pace and more of a tell style, even when they're asking a question, you're probably dealing with somebody who's in direct red space at the time. So you need to pick it up when you're having conversations with them. The yellow energy is very open and bubbly, and they're very, they use their hands a lot. They don't stay on target, meaning they change subjects all the time, but they're happy. So with them, you need to be open and don't give them a lot of detail. I'm not going to go into the communication styles too much in this class, but for the softer spoken, sweet personality style that is our Caring Green, they have more of an ask style. So even if they're making a statement, it sounds like they want you to tell them what to do. They'll say things like, do you want to stop and get something to eat? When in fact they're hungry. But they're never going to say, hey, I'm hungry, let's get something to eat. They're going to ask you in a roundabout way, and you need to guess. There's some gifts and there's some strengths, but it is really challenging sometimes to get the truth out of Green because they're really hesitant and quiet. The blue energy, the detailed blue, gosh, they don't smile a lot. They're very business focused. They don't share a lot of personal information. They have an extremely long time between when you ask them a question and when you're going to get an answer from them because they have to think about things. They'll ask some really detailed questions and then they'll pause for what feels like forever to the yellow energy because they don't want to be wrong. So understanding that about them, if you push them, it causes stress. If you're loud and rambunctious and run over top of them, it causes stress. So you can see if, you know, the differences in the different personality styles that you might in fact be what's contributing to their stress. So if we jump to the next page over there, there is a target, and we're going to use that target for almost everything else. And it really is a self-assessment to get you grounded in the personalities and also to look at the stress. So the first question is, how are you energized? Do you like things quiet? Are you more observant? Reserved? Cautious? Do you like to go in depth with things, or are you more talkative, involved, outspoken, bold? Do you like to take action? So this is the introverted extroverted read, and we're using the horizontal line. So it is a continuum. You're not 100% one way or 100% the other way. You're somewhere in the middle. If we were going to average our day out, what do you look like? I'm pretty much there. I need some quiet time, but if you give me too much quiet time, I'm stressed. Where are you? And then the next question is, how do you make your decision? Are you facts and data and do you like to analyze things, or are you more gut instinct and intuition? I don't care. I don't do a lot of data. I don't do a lot of analysis. I have to send stuff back all the time because I don't know the measurements. When I order from Amazon, I end up with like little tiny desks when I meant a big one because I'm not paying attention to the facts. But where are you?
I'm going to say you are speaking to me today. I'm so glad we're having this today. I have my Amazon package ready to return. I
Oh, no.
think that I am a red and I'm married to a blue and I birthed a green. My communication styles, I get frustrated so much, but I appreciate today's topic. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, I know, right? It's really interesting when you said you're married to a blue, because oftentimes the opposites attract. And then if you look at like a household dynamics, you birth the green. Well, I birthed a red and a blue. Um, my first husband was very green blue, and I'm very yellow green. Um, it, it's really funny because they balance the wheel. You know, you end up balancing the wheel on whatever team that you're on. You can shift into different positions. Sometimes that shift can cause stress because you don't have a lot of that different energy. Like if I have to do a lot of blue energy work, it causes major stress for me because when you look at my 1, 2, 3, 4, which is what we're going to do next, my number 1 is yellow. My number 4 is blue. If I'm having to do a lot of blue work, it causes stress for me. this is important to know about yourself, but it's also really important to know about the people that you live and work with. Where does what causes stress for them? Like, my husband loves to do Excel spreadsheets. I would rather scrub toilets than do an Excel spreadsheet. I don't have a lot of competitiveness. I like to play. So if we're playing golf and I'm ahead, I will shank my putt just so you can win, because I want you to be happy and play still. Where if you're really competitive and you're losing, you might quit or become really pushy. Does that make sense? So what I want you to do with that target, because I went really fast, is I want you to do a 1, 2, 3, 4 for yourself inside of that, in the squares. So my number 1 is yellow. That means I have the most of that. Number 2 is green. I have second of that. 3 is red and 4 is blue. What the personality assessments that you do when you pay for like the full-blown assessment, they give you a percent of what you are. And when I looked at my percent of blue, and I don't remember the numbers because I'm yellow and I don't care, it's under 10%. So that's not very much blue. And there's blue stuff I have to do in my life. And so I have to really be proactive when I'm ready to do that blue stuff. Like paying bills, you need to be blue. You need to be paying attention, right? So when I pay our bills, I have to make sure that I'm in blue space, because otherwise I'll forget one. But it's a great way to manage your life. Does everybody got a 1, 2, 3, 4? I hope so. Nobody answered me. Okay, here we go with a little Reader's Digest version of how to communicate, and then we're going to dive into stress. Communicating with others the way they want to be communicated with came out of Dr. Tony Alessandra's book, The Platinum Rule. And in it, he says, if you communicate with others the way they need to be communicated with, they actually hear you. Your energy is matching their energy. So the wave frequency matches, right? It's like tuning into a radio station. You can't sort of get there. All you hear is blah, blah, blah. But if you get right on top of it and you're communicating the way it needs to be communicated with on the same channel, you'll be able to have better communication. So with red, you want to be fast and efficient. With yellow, you want to be fun and interactive. With green, you want to be warm and caring. And with blue, you want to be non-emotional with all the facts. Send them an email with all the attachments. They'll be super happy. And then set an appointment to talk about it. And only that. Just this can reduce the stress in your office. Just this. But when we take it a little bit further and we talk about stress, so I included on the 3rd page a communication dues, the Quick Connect card. I didn't do the branching chart. I wanted you to have both the Quick Connect card and the stress card. So I put it all on one. But follow the communication do's and don'ts and see if it doesn't reduce the stress in your office. Have you ever been stressed?
That was an overreaction.
That's when Andy got sent to anger management. I love The Office. We haven't watched it in forever, and we watched it last night. If you work in an office, it definitely brings up some pretty good memories. But when we talk about stress, we can't not talk about fight or flight, because stress is actually a result of you going into fight or flight. Does anybody want to tell me what happens to your body when you go into fight or flight?
Personally, I shut down, so I don't know if anybody else does that.
Well, see, they talk about fight, like fight, or flight, like run away. but they don't talk about two other responses to stress that oftentimes are more response that women do. One of them is freeze, like you shut down. We freeze, we don't do anything. The other is we befriend and tend, meaning that we'll make friends with the person that's causing us stress so that they don't hurt us anymore. Like, I think it comes from the hunter and gatherer days, from the research that I've done, where tribes would be taken over by other people. And if the women made friends with the enemy, then she could take care of her children and protect her children. And so I think it's an inborn response to a lot of stress that women do. And this fight or flight, the thing is, it releases adrenaline into your body, which is tough on your body, right? It releases a whole bunch of free radicals when your body goes into fight or flight, which we all know free radicals cause inflammation, free radicals cause illness. The other thing that happens is as soon as the adrenaline goes out of your body releases cortisol, which says, hey, we just ran from a Cheeto. We need to eat Cheetos. So there's a great article, if you Google it, called Why Stress Makes Us Fat. And it talks about all the things that our body does in order to deal with fight or flight. We weren't designed to stay in long-term fight or flight. And in this day and age, we are in fight or flight a lot. Fight or flight actually happens in the lower levels of Maslow's hierarchy of need. When you're in survival mode, if your life is threatened, you go into fight or flight. If you feel your life is in danger or your family's in danger and safety level, you're going to go into fight or flight. If you don't feel like you belong in your group, your society isn't accepting you, you're going to go into fight or flight. And so all of those stress responses keep you from being the best that you can be, keeps you from building better self-esteem, keeps you from achieving your self-actualization that Maslow says we're all striving for. It's really tough, though, to not get stressed. So when we start talking about stress and how to deal with it, we need to look at what's causing it and how we can possibly avoid it. We're going to use the circles this time, not squares. Probably should have put circles in there. We're going to do the same 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm going to pop them all up here. When you're under stress, generally, is your response aggressive, controlling, pushy, and intimidating and forceful, like mine? Or is it frantic and edgy and indiscreet and jumpy and seeking attention? Or stuck and stubborn and shut down and slow and sad? Or stuffy, indecisive, suspicious, cold, and reserved? So we're going to do the same 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you a second. Does anyone want to share their number 1?
So I was analyzing that, the image. I really say I actually go green.
When green is stressed, they oftentimes mumble about how unfair things are. They feel unappreciated, and they can't hardly function because they're ruminating about the stress. Does that make sense, Kat?
Yeah, I was trying to think, what's the difference, balance, or is it a fine difference between the green and the blue when that happens? Because I feel like I just shut down.
So the interesting thing about stress is because we're all the same person, we're all different personality styles, right? At any given moment in time. So my number 1 go-to is red, but my stress response only it's my number 3 in my amount of energy. So I don't have a lot of red. What is red's number 1 goal? Getting stuff done. That's red's number 1 stress, right? And that's their number 1 goal. That's what they want to accomplish, is getting stuff done. And if things aren't getting done, they push harder to get it done. Well, because I don't have a lot of red in me, things don't get done as much as needs to in the roles that I'm sitting in right now. Because I'm having to drive the ship and I'm used to being co-pilot. I don't want to be the captain. Because I don't have that drive in me, right? So it causes stress. Where yellow energy is my number 1, it shows up as my number 2 because I don't have enough fun right now in my life. I don't have enough teamwork. I don't have people in my life to help me. So it shows up as me having meltdown. Green energy, treating people compassionately, is pretty low on my thing because I work really, green is my number 2, and I work really hard at making sure that everybody is taken care of. As a matter of fact, I'm probably spending more time doing that than I have energy right now to do. Does that make sense?
I think it does. Go ahead.
No, keep going. You think it does?
Yeah, and then I was thinking back to an interaction you and I had during a conference, and the stress that came out for you was very red.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that.
Most people don't. So when they see me act red and do that stress red, they're like, whoa, what happened? What happened was I asked nicely, and I put this thing out on Facebook. So now you think I'm the word that rhymes with witch, but I've asked nice, not once, not twice, not three, like on the 4th time, my kids used to count. Like they knew that if they pushed me enough, they would see me lose it, but they knew that they had up to 3 times before mom lost it. Right. And so it's like, I've asked nice, I've asked more assertive, I've asked, and now I'm mad because things aren't getting done. And I asked nice, you should have done it. And I think that's understanding where people are in their lives and what's going on is really important. Blue energy, because they work really hard at trying to explain how things are supposed to work. Like if you follow this recipe, you'll get the same cookie every time. But no, you decided to add walnuts to it, and walnuts dry out the cookie. You didn't add more butter to make it moist again. You know what I mean? And so it drives them crazy because it's like, if you just followed the process, this wouldn't happen. It says date. It's supposed to say data, in case you're wondering.
I was wondering what that was.
Fix that because you know what? Because I can't fix it like that. Anyway, it's really kind of stop the share. Occasionally, because yellow changes everything all the time, it causes stress for others. And as much as I love changing things, I understand that if I keep things the same, it goes much smoother. But then I get bored. And so it's not intentional. And this is the thing that I really want to share with people is that the behavior of those individuals that are in different personality styles that kind of rub you wrong, it's not that they're doing it to intentionally irritate you. It's just that's where they're at right now. And so when we get the team talking, I'm in really red space. That means I'm not going to be joyful and bouncy and happy. I need you to get this stuff done, right? I'm not trying to be a witch. I just need that stuff done. And I know you're not used to seeing me in that space, but that's where I'm at right now. And when I'm in analytical blue, which is very rare, I need you to leave me alone, not talk a lot around me, because blue energy needs quiet. They need a peaceful environment. They can't have a lot of like really bright lights. They don't do well in those environments. And one of the things I think we did, which detrimental to our society and our businesses, is we took down all the walls and made everybody like be in the same office, like it's all one big open space. And it takes focus to get blue stuff done, and you can't focus when there's chaos all around, right? It's like let's defuse the bomb while sirens are going on and all this stuff. I mean, it's like
Absolutely.
we had one gentleman in our in the office that I worked in, right? He bought noise canceling headsets, and he would wear his noise canceling headset like all day because he just couldn't handle how chaotic our office was. Um, and then of course there were people that would make fun of him, and it was like, guys, he's just trying to cope in this crazy world that we're living in. Leave him alone. And that's that green piece, that green in me that's going, rar, don't pick on somebody. But once you understand and you can recognize what the stress looks like in others and in yourself, you can get to it before it becomes extreme. So on your worksheet, the last page I included was under stress. And when we talk about stress, I'll go back to sharing the screen because it's easier to point at. When we talk about stress, when you see somebody under stress of the different personality styles, this is what red looks like. They're flaming. And you're pretty much going, wow, I don't want to be near this person. And they don't want you near them anyway. So about the best thing you can do when you see somebody in this stressed out space, the thing that causes them stress is people moving too slow, things not getting done, people goofing off around them, being disrespectful, they're like, respect my authority, I'm the boss, just get this stuff done. The best thing you can do is help them reconnect to goals. Actually get the heck away from them and let them figure it out, because they'll come looking for you. If they can't get it figured out, they'll come looking for you because you're a resource for them to get stuff done. But about the only thing you can do is, hey, I've got some ideas. If you need some help, let me know. But don't goof off around them. Don't be loud around them. Go away. I actually also like leave food usually, because these individuals are usually trying to get stuff done and they haven't stopped to think, oh, I probably should eat something. I believe cookies help everything. So just my go-to is, here's cookies and a cup of coffee. Let me know if you need any help.
I have
And then
high expectations next time I see you.
okay. Yellow energy, when things are too logical, when it's too hard for them to do, when people aren't paying attention to feelings, like nobody's fun, nobody, and nobody's nice, you'll see them, or people are being too slow. They also move really fast. You'll see them have like meltdown. And really the idea behind taking care of them is they're good with hugs. Don't hug the red. They're good with hugs. They want to do things mixed up. They don't want things the same. They want variety. It's really time for a timeout. Let's go grab a cup of coffee, or if you can't leave, send them on a cup of coffee. You know what? It looks like you could probably use a break. We would love it if you go grab us some coffee. You fly, I'll buy. They're good with that. They'll go do something, right? They got all this crazy energy and they want to do something that people are going to say thank you for. So go send them on a coffee run. Green energy has a tendency to pout. And I say that and because it's one of my go-tos. They have a tendency to look like they're pouting because they're ruminating on whatever somebody did wrong to them. the best thing you can do with them is to have a quiet one-on-one with them, sit down with them, have a cup of coffee by themselves, and really listen to what's going on. What are your what's really going on? Looks like you got some concerns. And it's going to take a while for them to talk to you because they're still pouting. We're all little kids. I think we're all 5-year-olds inside. Blue energy looks like that. They have had enough. They're behind their wall. They're having a conversation that goes something like this. You people are idiots. I already told you what to do. I already saw the problem. You guys want me to fix it again? I'm not going to do it. You tick me off. The best thing to do for them is also a quiet one-on-one with them and ask them, how are you seeing this situation? What do you think we ought to do? Respect their authority as far as what they did, the process they built. What are your thoughts to get us back on track? That sort of thing will help pull them out of their shell, because they go down into this, not a shell, they go down into like a rabbit hole or something, and they are down there and they're not going to talk to any of us because we're all idiots. And I know that look because I've seen it a lot. My dad's an engineer, kind of looks like that. I included the symptoms and the fixes on this sheet, and you'll see that you don't want them to get to the flipped out place. Like, bad day is hard enough to deal with, but when they get to that flipped out extreme stress, it's actually harder to read. Like a stressed out blue cries. You never see blue cry. But on flipped out, they cry. And they don't need a hug. Matter of fact, that's one of the worst things you can do for them when they're at that flipped out place, is hug them. What they really need to do is figure out how they can get back on track, how they can get back to their quiet, peaceful existence where everything's going smoothly and they have time to think and they're not being ran over and people are actually intelligent enough to understand what they're saying. They need to get back there. And so following the remedy can help get there, but it's hard to read that that's what you're dealing with. Because when they're flipped out, they look like yellow on a bad day. So you want to hug them and have fun. And they don't want that. Green energy on a flipped out day they're extremely emotional. They blow up the bus they threw themselves under. They're vicious. They know exactly where to put the knives of the comments that they're going to say to you because they've listened to everything you've ever said and they know exactly what's going to hurt. They don't want to be there. They hate being there. And so really for them, even though you don't want to be around them because they're like kind of scary, they really do need you to be around, to hold their hand, to say, you know what, I am so sorry this is happening. Help me understand what we can do to fix this. And quiet one-on-one connection is going to do that, but they don't look like somebody you want to be around. Red energy under stress, they kind of like throw the plans of their lives away. They are really highly emotional. They become easily offended. Like, you don't want my authority, you don't want my help, you don't want my direction, you don't want me to give my intelligence to you, fine. And they completely disconnect with things that are really important to them. So it's really hard to pull them back in because you're thinking, gosh, it's kind of mean about this. It really is helping them understand what's important to them. Respecting their authority. Don't call them honey, don't call them sweetie, don't call them dear, don't hug them. They need help getting back to their goals and what they need to do to accomplish their goals. Yellow energy, when they are under stress, go ice cold and they see the situation clearly and they are usually hell-bent on taking that out. Whatever that person did, they will take you out. And it comes from a really nice person. There's no emotion. They don't cry. They don't throw a fit. They don't do anything. They go dead silent and they are going to annihilate you. And really what they need is they need people to bring them around and have some fun and lighten up and realize that that's really not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal at the moment for them. So it's kind of hard to move past that. But they need people around to lift them up. And that's the extreme part. So we really, if I always say, if we can catch it on a bad day, you not get to the flipped out place, we're so much further ahead. But if we get to that flipped out stage, you might need to bring in the troops because it's not easy to read. Like I was working with a team and the director was saying, I have got another red that I don't know what to do with. And when we finally, because she's a red, and when we finally sat down and did some one-on-one time, the other person and I showed her this flipped out green, and this is where she's at. She's the flipped out green. She's not a bad day red. She's not red. She will follow you into the depths of Hades. She's very supportive and loving and caring, but she's had enough, and now she's vicious, and she doesn't know how to fix it. So sometimes you just need some help to get through those things. Kevin, do you want to talk about their Excel Essentials Level 2 class that we got coming up?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So Excel level 2 is coming up, I think, next Tuesday, is it not? Tuesday morning?
August 12th, whatever day that is. Lost
That
track.
is next Tuesday morning. Yes, from 9 until noon. This is just a great class. I think it's Mary's favorite class. We do it's really getting beyond the basics of Excel, and it's getting down to those really important functions and features within Excel that can really make a difference in your ability to do analysis and to be able to kind of get to the data that you want. So really, really fun class, goes very, very quickly, and you'll just learn an awful lot. So August 12th, 9 to noon.
Sign up on your website or mine. And then if you want to start at level 1, which is, from the beginning, we got one coming up in September. September 9th from 9 to noon again. We're going to a pattern of one Excel class a month, especially during the summertime. If you have a team that you really want to bring on and to work together, we do house calls. Kevin's up in the Seattle area, so he can do live trainings up in that area. I'm down in Southern Oregon. We've got lots and lots of different topics. We can customize it to fit what your team needs. Just give us a call and we'll happy to walk you through that.
Yeah.
And then next month, you are doing maintaining workday balance and productivity.
Yes. So our lunch and learn next month is maintaining workday balance and productivity. This is a great, great topic. I actually get very happy to do this one every year because it's just a good reminder, even from the ability to facilitate the thing really teaches me a lot about, ooh, I got away from that. I'm not doing things like I should be doing things. So we will spend some time really talking about how do you find balance during the day? How do you get that to-do list done? How do you make sure that you are as productive as you possibly can be and still have some fun along the way? So really looking forward to that. I think that'll be a great session for us. That's on Wednesday, September 3rd at noon.
Awesome. So I thought I would stop that share and ask anyone if they had any comments or questions about our stress class today.
Mary, I have one for you.
Okay.
So what do you say to somebody who says, "Oh, well, now I have to do things their way. I have to make sure that everybody else is settled. What about me?"
So that brings about a really good point. The problem with life in general is that we don't have a magic wand to make somebody else different. And so the only thing that we can do is bring awareness to the situation. And so oftentimes what I say is you need to couple the person understanding the personalities with assertive communication to be able to say, here's what I need. Here's what I need from you. Would you mind doing it this way? Or would you mind if we did this?
Or what works best for me is if I get that report a day ahead of time so that I can look at it and then I can be more effective at giving you answers. That's my blue energy.
Mhm. Well, oftentimes we need to understand the why. So that person that I used to have a boss that played golf every day at 3 o'clock. He had a standing tea time every day at 3 o'clock. And my coworker would go to him at 2:30 in the afternoon. And I'm like, what are you doing? You don't go talk to him at 2:30 in the afternoon. The answer is going to be no, it's going to be short, and he's going to be rude to you. And then you're going to come whine at me. So sometimes it's just a matter of going, when can I approach him?
Yeah.
And because all four of we have all four colors, it's when would they be more receptive to hearing what I have to say?
Yeah. I actually loved hearing you say that about your kids knowing, because intuitively we know, right? We do know how many times can you push Mary before you're going to push her over the edge, right? We know that intuitively about people, and sometimes we just ignore it and we do it anyway.
Uh-huh. Well, and I worked with a coworker who loved to push my buttons, and part of it was he got a kick out of looking like he was superior to me, because if he pushed my button and I blew up, then he'd be like, look what I have to deal with all the time.
Yeah. See,
So there was a
I told you.
there was a payoff. And so sometimes our people have, for lack of a better, ill intent and know how to push our buttons, and they do. You know, those people that come in at the last minute and drop the and bring the project together all at the last minute when the analytical thinker needs it ahead of time so that they can process it. There are people that do well on their feet. They think well on their feet, and they put other people under stress because the other person's thinking, oh, what's going to happen? Because they need time to process. So if we could just be, I was reading a thing today from SHRM, Society of Human Resource Managers, about civility in the workplace and how much it's missing. That people have lost their civility, being nice to one another. And so if you know that's going to cause stress for somebody, don't do that. Like I had a friend of mine that was a vegan, and it just, I would never invite her to my house to have a barbecue of beef. It would, it just cause so much stress for her. So, do her over when we do like a multiple soups, multi-type soups, so that she could bring her vegetarian soup and we could all commingle together and eat our bread together, and everybody can eat their different types of soup. If it causes stress for your fellow man, don't do it.
Yeah, my favorite phrase these days is that just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly. Well, I
So
really,
I got to run to a meeting, but I appreciate the fact that you brought this up today, and I'm not sure why I'm not getting your emails, so I'll double check that. But I appreciate everything you bring to the table, and thank you very much for making lunch so enjoyable.
thank you, Kat. I appreciate you joining us today.
All right. See you guys later.
So I'm going to stop the recording now, guys. I'm going to put it out on YouTube. If you want to share it with somebody who didn't attend, or if you want to revisit it, you're welcome to. And if you have any thoughts, feel free to shoot me or Kevin an email. Don't shoot us, an email. Shoot us an email.
I'll hopefully see you next month.